Commit to changing. Commit to trying something different, stepping outside of your box, changing your energy, accepting that today is going to be it's already an amazing day.
Stop, face centered. Stop record, face centered. Speech off.
Okay, let's try it again. Hi guys, it's VI Life with Kelly. Thank you so much for coming back and spending this time with me. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. We're on our way to 200 subscribers. And this video is going to be about things I wish I would have done differently as a blind person. So if you're interested in hearing about my experience, then keep watching. Okay guys, so let's get into it. So I have been challenged with visual impairment for over 20 years now. And even when it first started, you could have never told me that I would have this experience for this length of time. Like, my mind was so made up that I would be delivered from this, I would find the cure, I would wake up one morning, it would be over with, that I never even planned for it. I never set provision for it. Even with my parenting, I did not think about it at all, you all. And I spent like the first 5 to 7 years functioning with low vision, just eye strain, like just really forcing myself to do a lot of things visually that physically it wasn't there, right? And then I went back to college. I learned about assistive technology, and I totally just abandoned the reality that I have visual impairment, because with my assistive technology I could do everything. So it was like, great, you know, I had this temporary fix, which was not good because I still wasn't accepting the reality that I was really having very serious visual issues that would affect my daughter, that would affect my life. And I was really like in denial. Like, I was devastated. It was happening to me so much so that I just didn't deal with it. And can you imagine, like, how can I not deal with it? But I didn't. I would just move on. And so as time was going on and I wasn't able to do as many things visually, or if it was too much for me, then I would just compensate, you know, either, you know, get a visual assistant, you know, or a tutor, or you know, have as many people in my circle help me do these things, right? So, you know, instead of people being able to just enjoy my company, or, you know, like we would, you know, go hang out and this and that, you know, now it's like, well, I need to run my errands, I need to read my mail, I need to clean up my house, I need to can you look at my leg? I thought I hurt myself last week. Can you help me put a band-aid on this? Can you help me, oh, my hair, this? Like, it turned into like, you know, accommodations. Like, I need you to help me with my real life, you know. So we're not going to really be able to visit, or it's going to be a visit is going to get slam dunked up in there somewhere, but for the most part I need your help, you know what I mean? And even with my child, raising my daughter, it was like, she's a small child, so of course I can't really solicit her help for that much, right? So it would be just like a lot of stress because I'm trying to be mommy, you know, sit at Chuck E. Cheese and allow her to run around, but I'm not engaged with her because I can't see the screens. So I'm just sending her off with a cup of coins, but I'm not, you know, participating like other parents would, you know, where they say, baby, what color is this? You gotta, you know, hit all the purple ones. You know, I'm more so like grabbing a Chuck E. Cheese employee, if that. Like, for the most part, you know, once I've gotten the pizza and the apple juice and I've given her her cup of coins, my daughter was pretty much on her, like, she was out. You know what I mean? She getting the thing with the balls, whatever. But it's the point that I wasn't even extending that as an option. I just automatically just gravitated towards her independence, and this is Chuck E. Cheese, this is the kid's place. They don't, it's self-explanatory. They got this, you know. Whereas if I was a sighted parent, I would have been more involved with her like my dad would. When we go to Chuck E. Cheese, you know, he'd play the games with me. You know, he'd help me recognize, here's the scoreboard up here. You know, you put this is a token, this is 25%, whatever it says right there. You know, 3 tokens. You know what I'm saying? Where it was more engagement and learning experience, and just meeting your child at where they are. I could think back now as far as not even being able to read my daughter a book. And I remember thinking about that when she was a baby, like, wow, how am I going to read stories to her? You know, how are we going to have that time together? Whereas I replaced books with movies. So me and my daughter watched so much movies. She had like almost every Disney movie it is, Baby Einstein, Baby Bach. Like, I replaced all of those instruction moments with that. Or, you know, they came out with the numbers and the letters that you could stick to the bathtub wall, and so that was a way of engaging. But really and truly, like that instructional time, that intuitive time that most parents have with their children, I didn't get to have that. And I just always found another way, or, you know, ask my mom to do that, you know, read this story with her or get her a tutor, you know, where she can have that one-on-one time with her teachers, but still in denial, like, I gotta move on, because I gotta find a way to pay bills. And I really felt like I was under the gun too. Like, I need to get as much done with my life as possible, so that I can have enough social security money that, you know, if and when or whatever happens, I can support myself enough to take care of my daughter and help her get on her feet as soon as possible. So I had came up with this game plan for my daughter, you know, to have her ducks in a row. Like, you need to go to school, you need to be able to make money, and you need to be able to do this pretty quickly and be self-sufficient and get on your feet quite, you know, as quick as possible, you know. But you guys, when I tell you, even with that being said, there were so many things that I wish I would have done differently as a person with visual impairment who acquired it through blunt force trauma. So I acquired visual impairment through car accident. And so I wish, you know, I would have really taken my reality seriously and set forth parameters, like in learning about ways to still have instructional time with your child, you know, finding the building blocks, finding, you know, like finding books that I could read because I could, you know, have the enlarged font, or I could feel, you know, the lettering, you know, or like, but that was heartbreaking to me. Like, to do that at that time was like accepting, you know, I'm a blind person. It's like, no, I'm not. I'm just a person going through something, and it's just about to be over any second, and I'm about to go back to my very visual life and my dream of being a doctor, and that's it. And so I couldn't get there. And as my daughter is getting older and older, and even though I'm, you know, giving her tutors, and even though I'm going on with my life and I'm using different technology, and, you know, I'm doing all these things, it was just so many moments that I missed. Just like not realizing, hey, somebody's got to teach my daughter how to drive. Not even getting that part, you know, over relying like friends and family would do it. No, not so much. That's not real, because they got their own kids to do that with. And then assuming that responsibility with my child means putting her on their insurance. And, you know, when your child is getting that permit, anything they do is it goes on your driving record. And so that mess up your insurance and you know, all these things. And so nobody wants to do that. And so then here I am, you know, all of a sudden, like, oh, my daughter's 15. Ooh, she's got to get a driver's permit. Oh, she's got to take driver's ed. She's got to pass this test. Oh, I got to start talking to her about, and we hadn't had a car. I hadn't had a car since she was like 4. So I hadn't driven with her in 11 years by the time she's getting a driver's permit. So it's like, and the world has changed, there's a lot of things going on out here that weren't there, when I was driving, like these cameras on the lights and like all these tolls and having to read these signs that tell you, hey, you're on a toll, you're on a peach pass, you're on a this, that, like all kinds of things, And so I'm out here talking about it. I'm out here like, hey, look, go with the traffic, pay attention to the signs. I had to like find visually impaired signs, street signs, so I could know what she's possibly looking at or have her describe it to me. Like, when you see signs, describe them to me. Let me see. I'll tell you what it is. Or let's read this book. Let's try to familiarize ourselves with as many signs as possible. I have to describe what is yield. You know what I'm saying? Versus go, and what, if the light has an arrow and a solid, that means that you need to wait until the traffic it breaks and then you can go. Not that does not mean you have the right of way, only if the light has either a left or right turn, or you know what I mean. And you guys, what's so crazy, I forgot to tell her about that, right? Out of sight, out of mind. This baby just took off when that light so the light was green and it was the solid green, and then that left turned green. Both of those came on. That baby just went, and it was nothing but the grace of God that them cars did not hit her, which she would have been in the wrong. But you know we got on through, you know what I'm saying. But it's just stuff, guys, that over the years, even with myself, I've taken off running before, and hurt myself because it's just a natural reflex. And I don't, I'm me being me thinking, hey, I'm not really blind. I'm just going through something. It's going to be, over with soon. And, sometimes I have to tell myself like, hey, you're blind right now. Like, you're blind. I mean, because it's only sometimes you're gonna bust your face into the wall, or even last week, you guys, I had opened the dryer, taken some things out and closed it, or so I thought. It popped right back open as I was bending down. I bust my chin right into that. I was like, oh my God. And those kinds of movements are not safe for blind persons. We're not to be making any sudden movements. No sudden left, sudden right, no down, no up. We're always supposed to use our hand to clear the way first, then turn. Clear the way first, then turn. Even going down, if I would have put my hand down as I was going down, it would have caught me or alerted me to the fact that the door popped back open, but I just automatically go into visual mode because I was born sighted. I lived a significant part of my life sighted. Even with visual impairment, I still had a large usable field of vision for years. So you all, things that I wish I would have done differently, as a blind woman. I really do wish that I would have had counseling, and I really wish that I would have sat my family down and my friends down and talked to them about what I was going through. I wish I would have told them, sat them down formally and said, hey, I had a car accident, because even my own mother and brother had no idea what happened to me until a few years ago when I was sharing my story with other people. And over the years, everyone's been on the outside of it, even myself. Isn't that interesting? We've all been on the outside of it. I've been thinking that people know what happened to me, where they haven't. And they haven't had the time or space to ask these questions or even express how they feel, or even I haven't formulated that bridge for them to say whatever it is they need to say. So it has caused alienation in a lot of my relationships and my family or interactions. I've been excluded from things because people have assumed, a lot of things about me. And it's because of that lack of communication and openness and really welcoming. If I'm in denial about what's happening to me, what position does that put other people in, that's used to having a visual relationship with me, and so that's one of the biggest things. I wish that I would have, sat friends and family down. I wish I would have had counseling immediately, specifically about visual impairment, and went through some type of program where it taught me the steps of how to cope and how to share my newfound reality, because friends and family, they assume things that are not real, and because they don't have that experience, period, strangers, period, then they have no idea. And it's very difficult to talk about something that you don't have no idea. You know what I mean? And still be you. Like, that was the biggest thing too. I didn't want to accept, like, I'm not a handicap, I'm not a disabled. I don't want to be those labels. I am Miss Bragg, and I am going to be a pediatrician. And that was my identity. So to now say I have visual impairment, and to sit people down and say to them, like, I really don't know who I am anymore. I don't know what's happening to me. It's quite devastating. It's putting me at a place of dependence that is unnerving for me. I don't know how to deal with this. And I'm going to need a lot of y'all's help and support over the years. That, I pray this is over with any second. And as I'm going through this, I need y'all's love and support more than I ever would have. I don't like being dependent, and I don't like my independence taken from me. I don't like that I can't drive anymore, that I have to catch the bus and the train and utilize taxis and take my child, through these different changes I never would have planned for. Even being married with visual impairment, and trying to find my identity in that, and hiding, behind those roles. It's very challenging, even my ex-husband, in denial with me as well, like, no, this isn't happening, and very uncomfortable, which caused, a lot of problems, because it's like, we're not talking about it, okay? We're not sitting down talking about it. It's just this thing that's there. And then, me looking for my husband to be, comforting, understanding, all these things that I'm not giving him the space to be, so then he's just like, oh, you're okay, get in there, champ. He's giving me, that kind of energy, because what else does he do? Who knows? He doesn't understand it neither, nor does he want it either. Who wants, to have this happen? You know what I'm saying? So, you guys, that's, a really big thing that I wish, that I would have done. Even dating, after divorce, and trying to wrap my mind around how I'm going to share this with, someone. Very hard. I mean, the biggest thing I would say would be like, hey, I have some visual challenges going on. I'm probably gonna need your help with grocery shopping or whatever. Like, you know, for the most part, for years, it wasn't that big of an issue. Sometimes different guys I would date, they wouldn't believe, I really had that big of a problem until they saw me fall or something, or, until they saw my equipment at home, stuff like that. Then it became more real, but period, I would say anyone that is experiencing disability, through trauma. You know what I'm saying? Like you had full mobility, you had full function, of all your senses, and now you don't. You know what I'm saying? I would say sit your family down and your friends, your circle. Even make it a thing. Maybe have dinner. You and your friends always had dinner. You invite them all out for dinner, and then you say like, this is gonna be a little different. I want to talk to you guys about what happened to me and what's happening to me. And I want to tell you guys this because I want you to be able to ask me questions, and I don't want to be, this to be, like the elephant in the room. We're ignoring it and all that. I don't like that this is happening to me, but this is my reality. I guess this is going to be my testimony. But this is what I'm going through. And, I'm, going to need some help to get through this. I believe had I done that, a lot more opportunities would have come my way, because that will allow them to share things they knew about, like, oh, you know what, there's a school here, or they have a support system for this, or they have these programs that, like, but I cut all of that off because I was running scared. That's the truth. I was terrified for years that, what is happening to me? um what is this life like? What do I have to offer myself anymore, my child, my future, my husband? Like, what, on at the beginning I was just working any kind of labor, manual labor job. I was a grocery sacker, I was a grocery stalker, I was a maid. I mean, I was doing some hard work, $6 an hour, $7 an hour, and trying to figure out, like, how did this, I was just in college full time, pre-med biology major, and now I am mopping the floor on my hands and knees for $6.25 and losing my vision. I mean, all my money's going to these prescription drugs. It was like $500 a month. My social security check was 400 and something. So it was crazy. It was a crazy dynamic to be thrown into in a matter of seconds, one car accident. So anyway, guys, here I am, all these years later, and the vision has changed significantly with the more stress and loss, just things that have gone on. I've lost quite a bit of field of vision. I will say that when I de-stress, when I work out more, I gain some of that field back, which gives me inspiration. It gives me life. I'm like, yes, these eyes want to work, and I want them to, and I want to keep every bit I can keep. And so eventually, I do believe total restoration is mine. And in the meanwhile, I want this platform to serve as a safe space where my friends, my family, my loved ones, all of my subscribers, the world can say and ask and be a part of my life, and all those in your lives who have disabilities and challenges, impairments, things that they could never plan for, to say and ask, and get in there and still be included, and still have a life together, because we broke that wall down. We broke that fear down, and we just had those uncomfortable conversations, guys, and to the point that it's comfortable, and to the point, it's normal, it's familiar to talk about everything, because secrets are absolutely no good, guys. They're not helpful, they're not empowering, they're destructive. And once all of us recognize, like, every last one of us has some type of challenge, whether it's mental, physical, emotional, like every last one of us has a dynamic. Whether we have learning differences, not disabilities, just differences in the way we absorb information. When we take away these words, because I don't like that they're called disabilities, I don't like that it's called handicap, I don't like that it's called impairments, you all. I don't think that that is an uplifting term to a reality, an altered reality. You know what I'm saying? And so I just feel like once all of us get comfortable with opening up and sharing um, what our challenges and difficulties are, this will be a better place, because then we will finally connect ourselves to our truth and to our power, and we'll be able to get with the resources that make us our best, our brightest, and we can just move on. Because when you give each other these terms, when these challenges come, it divides us. You know, it's like, I don't want to be associated. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to look at that. That makes me feel bad. I don't know what to do for that. I don't want it. I don't want it. It's an undesirable, right? But really and truly, we have to get beyond it. We do. Because it's not going to change until it's time for it to change. And whoever I was before visual impairment, that girl is still here. And the people that I loved, and the friends, and the relationships, and the things that I liked, and the spaces that I dwelled within, I still love those things. I still love those people. I still love being that person. It might be a little different now, of course it is. But you know, I'd rather open up the door and say, hey, you know, it's a little bit more of me to love now. A little bit more to love and, you know, understand. And just like it's a little bit more of you all to love and understand. So yeah, guys, that's what's going on. I wanted to share that with you all. This is 25 years later. 25 years after the car accident that changed my life forever. So I'll see you guys in the next video.
Speech on. Stop recording.